Hey, this is Joey. Welcome out to another Windshield Time episode. I am here with Spencer Extraordinaire Shorts.
Yeah, that's what my mom called me.
Is it? That's your middle name?
Yeah.
Spencer E. Shorts. You got anything else you want to say? I'll give you free reign, like 20 words if you want.
20 whole words. That's pretty great. So compassionate of you.
Ooh, very well played.
I feel like I'm really thought of and valued here.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I think you probably hit 20. Okay, you're done.
Empathy.
Also joined today by Tim White, our Director of Marketing. Thank you for coming on, bud.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I've been kind of talking with some of the employees about the core values of the company and wanted to get some of the people in that exemplify those core values the best. And for compassion, I think that's you, bud. Such a I won't. Your daughters may not think this.
Probably not.
Your wife may not think this, but that's okay. Your son-in-laws probably don't think this, but that's okay too. But your grandkid, he definitely thinks this.
Yeah.
He thinks
He's the love of my life.
Exactly. So compassion is a cool one. You know, as we were going through and creating these core values, one thing that does stand out about Mountainland is that we really do care about one another, and you know the situation in life that we're all in, and our customers and our vendors and everybody around us. You know, we're all part of this little experience called life. We're all in it together, and if we can make it easier for one another, we should make it easier for one another. When you first started, that was one of the things that I remember about creating just our new brand. When you and your team came in and kind of revamped and refreshed everything, you had kind of gone through a similar process of finding out who Mountainland was and what we believed in. And I remember in your brand statement that you mentioned that our customers felt like we cared about them. And I think that that's just something that's innate with who our company is. You know, we really do. It's not that we just care because that's an easy way to get a sale. It's, you know what, sometimes we eat it because we care so much, because we can see that something that we did created an obstacle for our customers, and that's not who we are. Or something that we didn't make it so that their business was better. It made it harder for them. So we change it. We recognize it, we fix it, and then we move on. And I think our customers have helped us develop that over the years as we've kind of stayed true to that core tenet of who we are. And that was before we even marked it and said that that's who we are. You know, I remember that's one thing that when I first started at Mountainland, customers would tell me all the time. It's like, you know what, I can get my stuff anywhere, but I know that, you know, so-and-so cares about me, so I do business with you guys. And I know I might pay a little bit extra. I know that I may not be getting the best raw price for it, but I know that my money's going to a place that cares about me. And I know that when I need something at 2 a.m, I can call you guys, and I don't feel bad about it because you guys are who you are. And I know you want to help me.
Yeah, I think I experienced that right off the bat when I came in. Even before I came into the company, I was doing research on the company and helping consult. And one of the first things I did was interview a lot of the employees. And the thing that kept coming back to me was like the strength of the company is the people.
Yeah.
But that idea of compassion for each other really kind of bled through. Like I had this sense of, it's like, you know, you want to say it's like family, but almost in a different way. In that, you know, sometimes in family you kind of have a lot of squabbles and fights and things. It's a rough thing.
It's not always the people you choose in your family, right?
Right. And it does feel like people choose to be here and choose to be friends, you know, like, and I've learned that over the years. I think that it was already here before I got here. I hope as I've come into the company that recognizing that as an attribute about the company and about the people of the company, that I do a good job of promoting it that way and exemplify that for myself, and that's just something that I try to do and show compassion to other people. As, especially the customers, honestly, like as we do it for each other, it bleeds out into what we do for our customers. And one of the things that I get a chance to do is I get to go on these, wonderful trips with our customers because they've earned that capability to do that. And as I've done that, I learn a lot about what they think about us, and I learn a lot about them. And what I've recognized is they have that same core value. Like they exemplify compassion to us. We screw up all the time.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. Probably 99% of the time we do it right, but 1% of the
They'll
time.
always remember the one.
Yeah. But yet they're really compassionate towards us. I think a lot of times they exemplify, the willingness to say, that's okay. Just let's get it the next time. Or, I'll work with you on this one, because they're true partners with us. And that's something I've learned from them. I'm like, wow, we have some of the best customers around, and maybe it's because we both have that as a core value of our businesses and the way that we just are,
Yeah. I think it's so within our VTO, our go-to-market approach, our marketing strategy, one of the things that it says in there is that we partner with partners who share our core values. And, we put that in there and we think that we know what that means. But then when you see things like this, it really does, ring true. If somebody is out there for themselves, then they're not a partner of ours. And likewise for us, if I was out there for ourselves, then I don't expect anybody to want to buy from us. That's not a partnership.
Right.
That's a one-sided arrangement, and we don't do that. Calvert always uses that sentiment. You can shear a sheep year after year, but you can only slaughter it once, right? And we're in this business to build partnerships, and so we want to shear the sheep. We want that return business. We want people to like doing business with us and not feel like they've been taken advantage of. And I think that is because we do take compassion on certain things. And then I think it manifests itself even more when you talk about one of our principles of enriching the community. That comes from a compassionate side of who we are as employees and who we are as, owners of this company. We want to make sure that the communities that we serve in are healthy, and we want to give back to those communities. And you and your efforts within marketing has been a huge part of that, not just through Giving Hope, but before we even had Giving Hope. We looked at those opportunities through Habitat for Humanity and Primary Children's to make sure that the communities that we serve feel like we are good stewards within that community.
Yeah. I strongly believe that, you don't have to tell people your marketing,
They can feel it.
They can feel it. They can experience it. And by experiencing that kind of emotion, that compassion that we have, whether it's in charity giving, and sometimes it's not very much money, but it's the manpower that we put behind it, or the unique situation that we have in that we have these specific building materials or something that somebody needs, and it's a great feeling to just do that kind of thing. I was thinking before I was coming in here today, I was like, what can I talk about with compassion? And I was thinking about there's a neighbor friend of mine, a really good friend of mine that committed suicide last year. And he was one of these individuals that was so kind to everybody, like smiled all the time. Every time I saw him, he would say, when we would leave, he'd be like, love you, bro. He would always tell you he loved you and stuff. And it was almost kind of weird. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, he really expressed that love. And I thought, man, I wish I was more like that. I wish I expressed that more often. And when he died, I realized, like, man, everybody yearns for that connection, and we should want to give that kind of that kind of love to one another, because we don't know what they're going through inside. You know what I mean? And I've experienced being around our customers a lot and recognize, man, they work hard.
Yeah.
They have, the same kind of things that we all deal with, whether it's issues with depression, anxiety, their home life. Some of them have, are single moms and single dads, and all those kinds of things that they're facing, and so making their day and being compassionate especially in the situations where maybe things aren't going exactly right, means so much to them, and it makes you feel good. So I think, we're only on this earth so long. It's like having compassion instead of maybe living with, an angst or some anger or something like that. That stuff just drags us down, but having compassion can actually build people up and build our businesses up. Mm-hmm. It helps make their business better. It helps make our business better. And to me, it's actually a proof that we're a professional company, that it's not just, sometimes we talk about we're not just a club.
Yeah.
But it feels like a club in a sense, in the camaraderie that we have. But I think it's also a professional approach to have that for our community, for the businesses that we serve, and for ourselves.
Yeah. There's that expression that the rising tide lifts all ships, right? And if we can create that, in the communities that we serve and in the industry that we serve, if we can just help others, rise up, then we'll rise up with them. Mm-hmm. It's interesting as you talk with people, in the industry, you develop a reputation regardless of what you're doing, right? It will happen. Mm-hmm. If you're in business long enough, you get a reputation. And it's very comforting to hear that our reputation is that we have compassion and that we care for others, because it really is who we are. And if you care for people, good things happen.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, inside and outside of the buildings that we have. If we care for our people, then they could feel it. And that's part of everything that we do. Every decision that we make has a person at the end of it. I try and stress that to our salespeople a lot, because, as a salesperson, you can get wrapped up in processes. As an operation person, you can. As a finance person, you can. But to remember that there's a person at the end of every process should bring us back to center.
Yeah.
And just say, you know what? Yes, we do need to adhere to certain processes, but if it's hurting the person, we don't do it.
Yeah.
Or we change it.
I can remember a time in our, I think there was a quarterly meeting that we had a while back. And I remember telling our team, I will always choose the person over the process or policy. At the end of the day, it's more important to us that we do that. You know what? If I can't be here anymore because I choose a person over policy, then so be it. But for us, that's the main thing is how do they feel after interacting with us? How do they feel after we've, helped take care of their business or, done an event with them or whatever it might be. It's like, I just care so much about what that feeling is, more so than the policy at that time. And I'm not saying that to say break policies, but sometimes you got to show that compassion in that moment when it's needed and just take care of them and just know that it's a long game. It's going to pay out for you in the long run. Take a step back. The moment, it's not such a big deal. Make sure that they're, taken care of and they're happy and and they feel the joy of, working with Mountainland and the people of Mountainland.
Well, in the sales process, you can always either be the first touch or the last touch, right? So you can be that first touch and get somebody to come into the company, but if you don't treat them right, you will be that last touch. And how does that person feel when they walk away?
Yeah.
And especially, those who are within our accounts receivable, a lot of times those people are the last touch in the sales cycle. There's no follow-up after that sometimes, or there's no chance for them to come back after that. So remembering that, even that experience needs to have some positivity and some optimism in it and some compassion in it sometimes, because our customers go through the same things we've always been through. We haven't always been able to, quickly pay our bills. It hasn't always been that way. And I am so grateful for those vendors and manufacturers who had compassion with us and gave us that grace and said, you know what? I know this isn't who you are today. This little snapshot is not who Mountainland is. I'm going to have compassion for you, and we're going to work through this.
Yeah.
And if we can do that for someone else, it will come around.
We've benefited greatly because they've had that feeling about us, and because we expressed that feeling to them. Always we're grateful for our vendors and the support that they give us, and that they give to our customers, and so they see that, they communicate that to us all the time. How much they appreciate us, and so I think that's where we gain that kind of liberty or that leeway sometimes when we need it too. And
that little bit of credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done enough deposits that we get a little bit of, we can have withdrawal every once in a while. Yeah. That's awesome. So if you could talk to a person that's starting out in Mountainland today, what would you tell them about working at Mountainland, or what would you tell them to give them, hope for the future, a pathway for the future? What would you tell them, somebody who's just starting today, about what to expect at Mountainland?
Really just the things that we've been discussing. I think recognize that everybody's always going through something. Have patience with the people that you work with, maybe, especially if you're a real go-getter or something, just kind of like take a breath and realize that everybody has your best interest at heart. Maybe you might have that with a supervisor, maybe it's hard to understand where you're going and stuff, and just to have that compassion for them, but also a little bit of patience in that process. I think it's really easy to just react to certain things that you're faced with in life, whether it's at the counter or driving. I really feel for those positions. There's a lot of sometimes people don't have as much compassion.
Yeah, and you're on the front lines in stressful situations.
You're in the path of the storm sometimes for them. And I've seen it so many times where if you take a step back and you're very patient and you show compassion, they see that. And many times later they'll come back and say, oh, I'm sorry, I was out of line, all those kinds of things. And it'll let you become the bigger person, you know. And I think as you do that, you're going to find that you'll get that same compassion for you when you make mistakes and things like that. And, I've done thousands of them over the years. I say stupid stuff sometimes. I do stupid things, but everybody knows, I think, where my heart is, and I think that gives you some leeway. So, put your heart on your sleeve, do your best, try to show compassion to other people, recognize that they're going through something probably, and if they're taking their hurt out on you, just love them,
Yeah, Brene Brown says to assume that somebody has the most favorable of intentions with you. Don't assume that they don't. Give them that grace from the beginning, and then work backward from there.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be much happier.
Even if they don't, you know, maybe
You'll be better for it.
Yeah, and they'll probably come around.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks, bud.
Thank you, man.
Got anything else you want to say? You want to beat up on Shorts a little bit?
I love Shorts, dude.
Who doesn't?
He's awesome.
Yeah, who doesn't?
You're over your 20-word quota.
I know, but
Okay.
Tim's here, so
We'll give you some
vouch
grace.
for
We'll
me,
give you some
know?
compassion on that one.
I'll give him grace.
Yeah, there you go.
Tim's always been empathetic.
Yeah.
All the years I've been there. We had some few long drives and talked about love and sadness and all kinds of different things. So he's
my ride or die guy.
yeah.
Yeah. Both of you guys are very, very compassionate people. It's been a pleasure to work with both of you. Truly.
Same.
All right.
Ditto.
Love you both.
See ya.
Love all you guys out there. Enjoy the ride. We'll see you down the road.